You're the first NFL active player to come out as bisexual.
Before, when I was young, football was all about who you couldn't be, how you couldn't talk, how you couldn't walk, how you couldn't express yourself. The next queer LGBTQ plus gay Tom Brady is out there right now. He just needs to be told that this is a safe space for him to be himself, to continue to work at a game that he loves.
Yep. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Gay Rugby Podcast. I'm Jack.
I'm Ozzy.
And today we're joined by RK Russell.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
Welcome,
Absolutely.
Russell.
We're happy to have you.
Happy to be here. Got my Monster Energy drink. I'm ready to go.
So, RK, you are a former NFL player and a defensive back end?
Defensive end.
Defensive end.
You got it.
Okay, cool. Clearly, I don't know that much about football,
Okay.
but we thought that there might be a lot of symmetry between rugby and football, because they're both full contact sports. Yeah. The ball is similarly shaped.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Laces and all.
The men are similarly shaped?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I shouldn't say men. The players, the athletes are similarly
athletes.
shaped.
I like that.
But first, let's delve into a little bit of history so we can know a little bit more about you. Before the NFL,
Yes.
where are you from? Where did you grow up? What was life like as a child?
Oh my God. I was born in Buffalo, New York, upstate New York. At the age of 6, I moved to Dallas, Texas. My dad passed away. So my mom was like, we're done in Buffalo. The blizzards are here. I'm grieving. Let's get out. And Texas, I always tell people, if you don't know anything else about Texas, you just need to know the 3 Fs: faith, family, football. And like that holds true, I think, till this day, I'm pretty sure. And just being in Texas and being like a bigger kid, I was also walking the halls of my school and had like coaches following me, harassing
Trying
me.
to recruit you.
Yeah.
Trying to recruit me and like, hey, why aren't you playing football? Why don't I see you on the roster? I don't see you on the team. Like, what's happening? I had a like part-time job for a lot of my youth just to help my mom out, pay for like my little cell phone bill, my little prepaid phone, and I think I did the electric bill as well. And then, as life happens, my mom got a better job. She was like, if you want to try out for the team, you can try out for the team. I played, I think, like a year and a half of high school football and had a lot of success. Got a few scholarships, got some great like accolades, made some good stats, some good numbers. I was also just like, looking back at it, knowing what I know now, I was like, oh, I was so small. But then I like see me around other kids. I was like, okay, I was, kind of different.
I mean, you walked in and I'm like, Jesus.
Which is why I got harassed in the hallways as well from coaches. And from that point on, it was like, I got a scholarship. I went to Purdue University to play football because I was also like, I can get a good education. I can play in the Big Ten against like Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State, like all these big schools. I didn't know before I committed where Purdue really was. The recruiter was like, West Lafayette, Indiana. And I was like,
Let's
sure.
go, let's do it.
Let's hang out. I was also told like, there's like winners. It's like the Midwest, which that also made no sense to me because I'm like, the Midwest is neither mid nor west. So I'm so confused by that as a younger person.
Yeah.
But I was like, I was born in Buffalo. I'm like, I can do a little winter or something. That was not the case. I got there. It was freezing. My freshman year, I redshirted, which means like I didn't play that first year because I was like, I had to like gain weight and get bigger and all these things.
Okay.
But I put in all that work, started 4 years at Purdue from then on out, and got drafted.
So you said you only played a year and a half in high school. Did you have any other like sports that you were involved in before that, or just like, because to land in the NFL after only playing 1.5 years in high school, like I feel like
football scholarship.
Yeah, I feel like kids nowadays, like parents get them started from like Pee Wee football,
Yeah, for me, that's kind of why I at times advocate to not specialize so early, just because I did. Also living in Texas, play with a lot of kids who had like been playing football since they were like 6. Those were also the players and athletes getting like stress fractures and getting like little neeks and tweaks when we're like 16, 17, when the body is like bouncing back, theirs was kind of like breaking down. So I do encourage young athletes, especially to cross train, to cross play all different types of sports. When I first got to Texas, I played soccer just because like you can't play contact stuff until you're like older. But once again, like it was the money, right? Like city leagues cost money. You have to pay for jerseys. You got to be able to like transport. So I never really took any of my competitive sports to like that next level until I was able to do football when I was older. But I played basketball, I played soccer. Baseball was kind of boring to me, so I didn't really go for that one.
So at what point when you started playing football, was there a moment where you're like, oh, wow, I'm pretty good at this?
Oh my gosh. Was there a moment? Yes. I remember coming home. Well, I remember the moment I fell in love with football. Mm-hmm. And I came home from like a practice. It wasn't even a game. And I was just telling my mom like how amazing it was, how much I loved it. And she was looking at me like, what she tells me now.
Boy,
she's
you're
like,
crazy.
Okay. Yeah, she was like, okay, well, I don't know what you're doing. And also like the moment where like, I don't know because I'm not a parent, but I assume there's a moment where like your kid's really excited about something and you're just like, oh, I hope they're like good. Like, I hope this is like a positive relationship between.
You're doing great.
Yeah, like you're doing your best. So I know she had a little bit of that because my mom was also like a hardcore football fan. Like she was watching like NFL games before I was even really interested in it.
Oh, so that the bar was high.
Yeah. I mean, to play in that state, especially at that time, and still now, like high school football is a huge part of the culture there.
Yeah.
So there was that, and then I remember playing a really good school at the time, Skyline. I think it was Skyline High School. They had a few guys going to like University of Texas, a few guys going to like Tech, and I think maybe one or two guys going to like SEC schools. And we got destroyed. Like my team did awful, but I was like running around the field. I was making tackles, making sacks, making plays. And I just remember after the game, like everyone from that other team just like telling me how great I was and how like I should be over there with them and like embracing me. The next day in the meeting, like my coach was like, the only good thing from this film is RK. Like this is the only positive. And I just remember getting a lot of recognition from peers, especially, which really meant a lot to me. Because kids can be tough.
Yeah.
Like kids, it's kind of hard to get that recognition, especially amongst like young boys and young men, when we're always taught to like be tough and not be vulnerable and not make those type of friendships and relationships. So that was the moment where I was like, okay, I can probably do this. And of course, getting scholarships and stuff helps because I'm like, someone's gonna pay me to play football. This is crazy.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Very cool. One thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that you were actually the first active NFL player to come out as bisexual.
Yes.
Which I think is pretty important to note as we dive further into your story.
So you had that to deal with at least back here while you're doing all this,
it's
trying to be the star athlete. And it's
so interesting because I think also the journey of being bisexual is kind of also like figuring out what that is and like what that means, especially back then when I was growing up. I mean, I graduated high school in 2010 and there just wasn't as much information out there for bisexuality. And a lot of the information out there was misinformation, false information. I remember thinking bisexuality was like being described as like a transition between like being straight and gay. And I was like, okay, well, when I was like dealing with that in the middle of my journey, I was like, okay, cool. I can just like go back to being straight. Like I can just like stop transitioning.
Halfway. Like,
U-turn. Take a turn and just go back to like straight town. So I also was in a lot of like relationships that felt very like real and vivid and were very real to me. So it wasn't until college when I got away from everything, got away from Texas, which as much as I love the state, also has its own inherent issues with racism and homophobia and all these things. Yeah. And I was able to, I wouldn't even say reinvent myself, because when you're like 18, like what is there to really reinvent?
You're just a big ball of mush.
Yeah, you're just figuring it out. So college was that time where I was like, okay, what is going on with me? And then once again, the bisexual journey, I thought I would like be with a guy for the first time and it would be this amazing thing and the sky would open and doves would cry and rainbows would shoot down on me and I would levitate and it would be this whole thing.
And I'm sure there's some trick for that.
And maybe. But I had my experience and then I was more confused confused than anything. I was more just like, I had more questions. I was like, okay, that was great, but like also this is great, and also this is, there's just, it's apples and oranges sometimes, and then sometimes all apples, all oranges. It's just a crazy thing. And then you have football, which is becoming more and more central to my life, more and more central to my dreams. I see it more as like a career and a way to provide for my family. And I'm also looking at the NFL, a league that I'm hoping to be a part of, and seeing no one that was out at the time. And that's a bit scary because you're trying to figure out who you are. And the closer you get to figuring it out, the closer you get to realizing maybe who you are isn't in line with your dreams and what you want.
That sounds really tough.
Yeah.
And so after college, you were drafted into the NFL, I believe in 2015.
Yes.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And the first team that you played with was the Dallas Cowboys?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you got to go back to Texas?
Yes, for better and for worse. Yeah, I got to go back. No, but it was awesome playing for the hometown team. Putting like the Dallas star on your helmet is like a huge thing in football in general, but also like for a young Texas boy. But it's hard because you also go back around everyone who remembers you a very specific way. And all of the discovery and the growth and the curiosity that you maybe had in college when you were, miles and miles away, feels kind of stunted when you get back to a situation where all your friends remember you a certain way and all your family remembers you a certain way.
Yeah. Was that tough? Was that tough to navigate?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was. Well, first of all, it's like, are you navigating it? Because for me, a lot of it was the compartmentalization of like my personal life and my public life.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, it's during the season. Like football is such a small blip in our lives, like sports in general. Like even Tom Brady, who played into like mid 40s, now hopefully has still like a whole half of his life to go.
A whole career.
Yeah, a whole career, and he's played for forever. So I was just like, I'm going to focus on football. I'll worry about all this gay stuff later. I was like, I'll figure all that out later. And when I retire, when I'm done and I've made my money, I've done my things, then I'll maybe go on this self-discovery. But of course, life is never that straightforward. And
never the way you plan it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's so unfair, right? And I don't know what other way to describe it, because when you're like a heterosexual athlete, you're able to go out on dates. You bring your significant other to your games. You're able to do like the social stuff away from like not just like the sport itself, and live your truth. But I think when you have to suppress and, like you said, compartmentalize like a certain part of your life, that sucks and it feels unfair.
Yeah. There's also once again the added kind of layer to being bisexual, where I could have relationships with women, and I did, and there were times where I was able to bring girlfriends around and do all that, but there's still a part of yourself that you're hiding.
Yeah.
Especially in these relationships. Like people are like, okay, well, if you can have a relationship with a woman, then just do that and it's fine. But I'm like, I'm also then building something really intimate and really close with someone and not sharing my full self with them. And that creates a whole nother kind of level of just like misalignment and disruption in your life, both personally and professionally. In football, I mean, it's so crazy the sacrifices already that we rationalize to play sports a lot of times, like just playing through injuries and sacrificing time with like families and doing a sport that
playing on Thanksgiving.
Christmas, exactly. Missing all of these huge moments. Like I know guys who were married with kids and like don't see their kids for more than half the year, really. So you see everyone making these really grand sacrifices, and you kind of just put your own self-worth, unfortunately, and self-identity into that column of sacrifices. And there's no one there to tell you that that's not true. There's no athletes that you really see around in the league saying like, you don't have to do that. It doesn't have to be that way. If anything else, the culture is kind of reinforcing that is something you should do. We hear stories all the time about the older athletes or athletes from other decades where they're like, yeah, guys were, gay, like, of course, but like they didn't talk about it. They didn't say anything. Like, that's just how it was. And there's this kind of like badge of honor that they give for those of us that live in the closet and hold in everything that we are.
Oh, wow.
And that's just really a sad thing to think about.
Yeah. And a sad thing to experience and internalize. What about when you left the Dallas Cowboys and went to Florida?
Oh my gosh.
Did you feel like kind of like you did in college, where you had a little bit more freedom to reinvent yourself?
Yes.
Or find yourself?
Yes, but also, it was Florida, so there is still a sense of like, you kind of have gone from one red state, I'll just use that, to another red state.
Yeah.
And at that time, my tenure at Dallas ended badly. Like, I got injured my first year. The second year, I ended up getting cut. So I'm also going to Tampa and like trying out for the Buccaneers and trying to make this team, still very much fighting for like my dream in this league and still fighting to like establish who I am. So once again, it was kind of the mindset of just like football's everything. There are so many times in my life, and I pinpoint it also in my memoir, The Yards Between Us, where I am put in a crucial point where I can either choose self and choose football. And more times than not, I always chose football, and that was another one of those instances. This time it yielded bigger rewards. Like, I got to start a bunch of games for Tampa. I got to play a bunch, get some great sacks, some great hits and great moments, and I was rewarded for that. But once again, life always kind of has a curveball for you.
Yeah.
And mine came in the unfortunate form of my best friend in 2018 getting cancer. And this was also someone I had met at Purdue, one of the first people I had ever come out to in any type of way, which in college it was kind of just like, I think I like guys. I don't know. I think I still like girls. I don't know what's going on. And he created space for me to just be myself and that be okay. And he's like, you're my teammate. You're my best friend. Like, I appreciate you told me, but like, can we go get dinner now? Like, I'm hungry. Like, can we get on with our lives?
Yeah.
And also when you're that young, you don't understand, or maybe hopefully you don't understand, hopefully you haven't been through it, but like how important someone's health is and how fragile life is and how finite it all is. And we make these sacrifices thinking, when I retire, I can do this. When I make it here, I can do this. I can be this. And then when you see someone really close to you get sick in that way, or you lose someone very close to you, you realize there is no guarantee of when this is going to be. And unfortunately, I had to go through grief to realize that.
Yeah. It goes back to that saying, like, don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today, right?
Exactly.
You kind of fell into a depression after that, right?
Oh my God, kind of is like a nice way to put it. No, full depression. Some other thing also compounded on that. The year that my best friend got cancer, I also had a very significant injury. And it was also my contract year. So like, I had to perform this year in order to sign another deal with Tampa, which I wanted. And Thursday Night Football against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, I dislocate my shoulder. And it's like, it's bad. Like, I have a clip of it on my phone that I never look at. But like, I'm talking full, like, arm extended, rolling over it, and just like completely.
And it's televised. I mean, everyone is.
Yeah. It's a bad moment. I am laying on the grass, kind of like I can't move my arm. But the pain hasn't like hit yet because I'm like feeling adrenaline. And also growing up being like a young Texas kid, I've like seen football movies. I've like seen shoulders dislocated. I'm like, okay, I know what to do. So I'm like looking at my arm and I grab it and I'm like, I'm just gonna like
Pop it back in.
pop it back. So it dislocated kind of out of the front. So when I go to like kind of jam it back up into the socket, it then like slides and dislocates out the back.
Oh.
And then that's when I like start screaming because I'm like, okay, now it hurts.
Yeah.
Now it hurts. Now I've done something to myself that has put my future in jeopardy. And the crazy part about that is I sit out the rest of that game. We have a bye week the next week, which means we don't play anyone. So I have that week to recover. I sit out one more game, and then I play the rest of the season in a shoulder harness, which looks very much like a one-arm straitjacket, and continue to, of course, make my injury worse, but I'm trying to, like, prove myself. Mm-hmm. I'm also having in the back of my mind, if my best friend can fight cancer, I can get through this. Like, the way that we become comfortable in like chaos and discomfort and all of these things. So that was kind of my journey in that year. And of course, once I get to the end of the year, my scans from when I had the injury to now are significantly different. The doctor's like, I don't know if you'll ever be able to like throw a football with your kid, let alone like play this sport. The team then, of course, has to let me go because they just don't know what my health is going to be like in the future. I'm told it's like a year rehab to get my shoulder back. Within that year of rehab, my best friend passes away. So definitely a severe depression at that point, because though I had tried to compartmentalize personal and private life, both at this point were in complete chaos and ruin, so to speak. And I had put so many times my identity as a football player above everything else. Once they were gone and the one person in my football world that knew me was gone, I realized I didn't know myself. I didn't love myself. I really didn't know who I was outside of this sport. And the thing about grief that I've learned for me, and really just about life, is that regardless of like how I felt, the days kind of kept coming. And I eventually had to decide whether I would let another 24 hours just go by with me rightfully feeling sad and just being depressed and upset, or if I was going to try to figure out how to live with just me. And eventually I was able to make that choice with the love of friends and family and my other talents and abilities and gifts and interests. And that's kind of what led me on my path of coming out.
Is this what inspired you to write your book?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's strange. The book thing is a whole other blessing. Honestly, I've been able to live so many dreams now in this life that I never thought were possible. I had always written as a young boy. When I lost my stepfather when I was young, I had written like a letter to God asking why that had happened and trying to figure out how I felt and what death even means at such a young age. And I found myself always kind of going back to writing to understand my emotions in this world and my place in it. So for my coming outs in August of 2019, I had wrote a essay for ESPN. That was like the first initial thing that I wanted to do, because writing had also always been like my most honest. Like I'd never felt judged. It's just like me, piece of paper, pen, or like a laptop, and no one's talking back to you. No one's saying like, oh, don't do this, don't write this, don't say this. You could just be. So when I wrote that essay and I put it out into the world, I then got reached out about my writing, because I was now publicly sharing it when it had always been something so private and personal. And a memoir, like a book, I was just like, at the time I was 27, I was like, no one wants to hear about like my life. I was like, I haven't done anything. But you realize that there's a lot of people that want to hear about other people's lives, other people that queer people in sports, people of color in these southern states or in these places where they don't feel loved and accepted, just men in general trying to find a different archetype than just like the stoic, tough, unmovable man. And it was terrifying, because I went from not sharing my personal life at all to now coming out publicly and like now writing a book about my life. But it came down to the decision that if I had something like this when I was in high school in Texas, when I was in Purdue trying to figure it out, when I was even in Dallas with the Cowboys, how much more that would have helped me in just understanding myself and just feeling like I wasn't alone, and in having hope, because at the end of the day, we all deserve to have hope. And I was like, yeah, I know that there are other people out there that need something like this, and I want to be able to provide that.
That's awesome.
It's amazing how sometimes something as simple as like living your truth can change someone else's life, and inspire them to live their truth too. And I just think that's so powerful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, especially when you're living under a microscope or with so many eyes on you, and that, in the NFL, it's such an elevated level of sport. I mean, it's the American sport. So you don't hear these stories. And so it's very inspirational when you hear active players or former players or just or even allies come out and say like, hey, I stand with the LGBTQ community, because of a family member or for themselves. And I think it's just small kids, straight, gay, wherever on the spectrum they are, they need to hear it and see it, because it's okay, it's normal. And we live in a society where we're shunned. The LGBT community is shunned and judged, and so hearing stories like this, having someone like a face and a voice, helps. It helps move that needle over, that needle of acceptance over. And hopefully, one day I was telling Jack, we'll have like a Tom Brady that will come out at his peak and like revolutionize everything,
Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing, and I think we're closer to that than we even know. And also, I think it's very important to support young queer athletes and to encourage them to stay in the sport, because I think for a long time, especially in football, I can speak, there's been the narrative that we need the big star Hall of Fame player to come out and everything will kind of work out. But there's so much obstacle and so much hate and homophobia and bigotry and exclusion that happens before you even get to that level. I mean, people always ask me like, well, what was it like in the locker room? Like, I'm sure it was crazy and it was this and that in the NFL. And I'm like, the NFL locker room is like a place of work. Like, sure, we shoot the shit, like it is still a boys' club in that sense, but it is also like the most professional, clean, like, media's running in and out of there all the time. Like, that was not the place where I heard, slurs for the first time. That was not the place where I felt like alienated for the first time. It was in these high school locker rooms, in these youth locker rooms, in this place where you're trying to mold young men so much to be a certain archetype of masculinity and toughness, where all of the hate and bigotry and the negativeness of sports culture really live. I think that's also why you see fans of the NFL to be so sometimes outrageous and toxic, because they haven't been in these professional locker room settings. They just remember the locker rooms they were in that were very divisive and very exclusionary.
When they were in high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I actually really relate to that, because I came out of the closet when I was 13. And I was on the wrestling team at the time. I had just won a wrestling trophy.
That's awesome.
And then when I came out, I didn't feel comfortable continuing my athletic journey, even though this was like one of the first things that I was good at and that I was recognized for. And so I think it is really important, like you said, to have this message at an earlier age.
Yeah, because the next queer LGBTQ plus gay Tom Brady is out there right now. He just needs to be told that this is a safe space for him to be himself, to continue to work at a game that he loves. And it's great when pro players come out and they feel comfortable and they feel brave enough to do that. I want to see more out players just going in and getting drafted and getting picked up and just being able to have long, successful careers, starting hopefully at a young age.
Yeah, and have them play professionally without having to make an announcement, right? I want to get to that point where they just exist.
Definitely.
And so what was the reaction like from your family, from your maybe previous teammates, and from the fans when you did come out as bisexual?
Yeah, I got a lot of love, first and foremost. Most of the guys that have played with me from high school to college to professionally text me, reached out to me. I had some coaches do the same. So I felt a lot of love internally.
Yeah.
I know that everyone, especially at that time, wasn't as comfortable, like, tweeting out messages and like being so out and loud about their allyship. I also know that a lot of football players, especially at that time, were just like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't kind of know what's going on here, but like, I have RK's number. I'm gonna send him a text. Yeah. And that's all I wanted, because I didn't come out for like, a show and like a big parade of things. But there was also, of course, a lot of backlash, I guess, a lot of negative comments. I did a really great job of keeping that moment sacred in between me and my loved ones. So I fortunately didn't see a lot of that. Everyone's kind of got like the family member or the uncle who's like, oh, did you see such and such say whatever about you? I'm like, no, I didn't, but thank you for telling me. But yeah, I mean, people, that's also like the nature of the internet, right? Like same thing, someone's going to love, someone's going to hate, someone's going to projects onto you, someone's going to ramble and be like, how did I get here? And I'm like, you could have just left, you didn't have to leave a comment.
It sounds like you handled that moment really well by surrounding yourself with loved ones.
Oh my gosh. And it's not hard, right? It's like go to the people who love and support you and turn your phone off. Like it's those are really the two steps.
Sounds like a nice a nice break, honestly. What were you most afraid of losing or damaging by coming out, and how many of those fears actually ended up being realities, and what were just like some that were just anxiety in your head?
Oh my gosh, yeah, fear. I mean, my career playing football had been something that had always kept me not just in the closet, but just like away from self-discovery and self-love in that sense. I was pretty sure all of my friends and family would be good, but being in the echo chamber of your own thoughts, it can go either way some days. Like some days I'm like...
You'll do yourself a disservice sometimes.
Yeah, some days I'm like, everyone will be fine. They love me. And then other days I'm like, they will never speak to me again. I will be alone. So that was there. And also just the world, really. Like I moved through the world already perceived a very different way. Being a black man in America, I've always felt like my space here was challenged, my existence was questioned, and a lot of the times my being is unsafe. So I didn't want an extra kind of like thing. I was like, I'm already fighting against daily racism.
Yeah.
I don't want to also fight against homophobia, but you get to a point too where it's not so much about what you could lose, because you realize when you're living in fear and you're living a half-truth, you don't have any of that anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not able to feel the love of my family and my friends because I'm not letting them know me. Mm-hmm. I don't get to really enjoy the highs of being in the NFL and playing this dream because I'm always scared this other shoe is going to drop. And you get to a place also where you realize whatever you lose wasn't meant for you. Like it didn't serve you. So I came out for me and for my own peace of mind and joy, and I didn't play in the NFL again. And if I would have told myself that before coming out that this would really end things, I might not have come out. But I had so much peace and so much joy the day after I came out that I truly was like, whatever happens now, I know that I'm living life. Like anything that's happened before this, I've had highs and I've had lows, but I've never had this sense of like peace. And I was able to do so many things that I know I would have never done if I wouldn't have been my authentic and true self. And it all feels so real and so valid and validating for me. In friends and family, I lost some friends. I had some family who had to figure things out. Me and my mom, who are super close, we had a very uncomfortable conversation when I had first come out to her. Mm-hmm. And we had quickly rebounded, but there was still that initial hurt in that initial moment. But everyone who's not in my life now, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Yeah. And I wish them the best. And I can't really tell you who they are because I don't remember. But you gain so much more, right? It's like the fear is always kind of worse than the realization. There are people who are actually in a place where they feel like their safety is being harmed. I completely get that. Like I also know that I have my own privilege of playing in NFL, and I am a masculine presenting person, and like all of these other things that do make my existence different than other people's. But more times than not, I realize that the fear is much worse than the actualization on the other side.
I think the NFL, you were working with the NFL after you came out, right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned like you didn't play in the NFL again, but what was the relationship between you and the NFL after that?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. You go from being like a very small cog in like this huge multi-billion-dollar organization where, like we know a few players' names because they've dedicated lives and done crazy things. So when I'm getting calls from the NFL organization and from teams asking me my opinions and to consult and to collaborate and to speak to their front offices and locker rooms and to create their messaging and their branding and like what are we not doing for players? What could we be doing better? How do we support our queer fan base? It's crazy because there's a true love for this sport that I've always carried and I always will carry. And for a lot of the times, the relationship between me and football was that they were the critiquer and I was the critiqued. And it is cool to ask of an organization to be better and to do more that has asked that from you when you literally couldn't like stand and walk a straight line. So it's cool to kind of keep that mentality and keep that energy and realize like, hey, that's not just something we need to ask of our players. That's something we need to ask of our front office, of our refs, of our fans, of everyone. Like we all can be better at every step. So it's a really cool relationship. I'm doing some stuff with them currently that should come out next month. So I'm super excited about that. And just continuing to like flex all these cool talents and muscles and perspective that I have. Like there is, I think, 16 or 17 NFL players in the history of the league that have come out. And I get to be one of those people. And though it's a small brotherhood and it's a little disjointed at times, it's something that will only grow from here. And I'm super excited about being a part of that growth.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Thank you.
So as someone who's lived on both sides, in the open and the hidden, how has your relationship to football changed since coming out?
Oh my gosh. It's so crazy because like I've always loved football. That's never like waned, but I would say my relationship to it has definitely changed, right? Like I go to places with like my Footballs for Everyone shirt. I have like all this cool NFL Pride merch. I get to love and support a game and also ask more of it and be a little more critical of it. And I see people really embracing that. Like I see the fans for more than not embracing that culture and that shift. And when people push back, it's always about something stupid. And it's just cool. Like I before when I was young, football was all about, and really sport for young boys was all about who you couldn't be, how you couldn't talk, how you couldn't walk, how you couldn't express yourself. And literally my shirt says Footballs for Everyone. And I'm seeing that more and more day in and day out. I'm seeing young boys play a sport and not think that just because they pick up a football, it has to like define who they are. I see people walk away from football and be like, it's cool, but it's not for me. And they don't feel that negative relationship to it, which I think is so awesome. And, you know, there are so many cool and talented young players now. We're seeing half of the league now has black starting quarterbacks, was something I never really saw like as a young person, like being a possibility. And you just realize like sport, a lot of the times I thought it was like a mirror of our society, but really it is like it's the engine. Like it is where the change kind of begins and kind of happens. Sport across the board. Yeah. Even especially like in women's sports, when we see women taking a stand and being trailblazers and mobilizing and using their voice and making like change in our government and our day-to-day lives. Like sport is really powerful. And I'm seeing that used for all of us. And I think that's so cool.
So you've written about the anti-trans sports bill and broader LGBTQ plus issues. How do you see the responsibility of athletes to engage in activism?
So important. I mean, there was a time when I wouldn't have been allowed to play sports because of laws, because of hate, because of misinformation. I don't want to see any systems built to oppress anyone being used, and especially being platformed or praised or like uplifted. Because if we allow one group to be oppressed, nothing stops that from happening to us as well. And also just empathy. Like, let's just care about human beings and allow them to play a sport that they love and they dedicate their life to. I think that's so important. Athletes have a cool platform because you are known for your talent in something that like so many people love, regardless of whether they can play it or not. Yeah. Like I know a lot of people who aren't interested in things that they can't do, and sport is not one of those things. Like there's a place for everyone here. So you get to meet so many cool people. Like there are people in locker rooms I would have never met if I hadn't played sports. There are rooms I would never be able to walk into if I wasn't an NFL player. And that comes with the responsibility because you don't get in those rooms alone. You don't get to that level alone. And when you leave, and when I take the helmet off, I take the jersey off, I'm going back to a community. And for me personally, when I go back, I want to let them know, like, hey, I did this for us. Like, this is for all of us.
Yeah.
I think athletes are understanding that more and more. I think that's one of the positive things about social media is athletes are realizing like they have a platform, they have a face, and they can use it for something other than just, showing off their cars and their money and their fashion and their plays. Like they can use it to actually reach out and help someone in the same ways that they were helped. I see athletes really kind of taking a stand. It's also a lot of learning because a lot of, you got the platform for being a good athlete. And then you kind of got to learn everything else. You have to learn what your voice is and what your perspective is and what the issues are and how you're being affected, communities are being affected. And guys are learning, like at their own rate. Like meet people where they're at. Not everyone can listen to me speak and really get everything. So we have to also be able to have the message go across media, across all types of lines of identity and religion and all the things. And athletes are really taking that stand. And it's led by female athletes and women athletes. I want to give them their credit because they've been doing it for a really long time. And all these male leagues are like, how do we do it? And I'm like,
talk to them.
Yeah, I'm like,
there's a framework.
Literally, it's right here. It's not reinventing the wheel, people.
I want to get back to your memoir, The Yards Between Us. When you were writing it, what was the hardest part to put into words?
Oh my gosh. What was the hard? I'm like, all of it? The hardest part. That's a good question. I don't know if I've been asked that in a while. I mean, grief is something that I feel still very close to at times. It ebbs and flows. It's an ocean, and sometimes, you're on the sand watching it. And sometimes you're dipping your toe in, and sometimes you are way in over your head. So those parts were very hard to write. And there are times where I write about my family, I write about my mom, I write about my aunts and uncles and my brother. And, I have to be honest about where I was then, also knowing that most of the people were in a completely different place now. So it's a little tricky because I'm like, I don't want to re-upset people, but I also have to be truthful to myself.
Yeah.
So those came with their own challenges. And then writing about relationships. I mean, once again, I was in the closet for 27 years, and now I'm talking about relationships with men that weren't great and weren't healthy, and I made a lot of bad decisions. That I look back and I'm like, what are you doing, kid? Like, what's going on? But that's what, when you keep something in the dark, it's hard to ever give it a chance to blossom and really to give yourself a chance. So those were really crazy to write about.
Yeah, and being a member of the LGBTQ plus community, we're hiding parts of ourselves for so long. And so a lot of people say when you do finally come out, you have to kind of live and learn and, experience what you experience so that you can find out what you like, what you don't like, and who you are. Yeah. So that all totally makes sense to me.
It's like a crash course.
It's something because I'm like, was there curriculum? I'm like, did I miss it? Like, is there a structure? No, it's something I still, it comes up for me in therapy to this day. Shout out to therapy. I think it's something a resource everyone should use and should be more accessible for people. But there is a creation versus curation that I talk about in therapy a lot of finding the things that were curated, that I picked up from sport or from male figures in my life or from media, from film, and things that come from creation that feel very much embedded in me and part of who I am and the dichotomy of R.K. Russell. And finding which of those are in harmony, finding which of those still serve me, finding which of those don't serve me and letting them go, and really mapping out a foundation for who you are and how to best love and support yourself through all of the different stages of this crash course of life. Because we're all here for the first time, or at least memory of the first time, and no one really knows what the heck is going on. But we still have to keep going and make the most of it.
And so how did your dating life change after coming out?
Oh my gosh. Got better. I was fortunate enough to meet a partner here in Los Angeles, I think like 2 months or 3 months before I had come out.
Okay.
And when I had moved to LA from the shoulder injury, from losing my best friend, I was very much on the path of like fuck it. I'm gonna do me, and I'm going to just see what happens.
Yeah.
So I was dating people and telling them like, hey, I'm bisexual and I am a writer and I played football and I'm doing all this, I'm like really trying to go for it. And the radical honesty on a first date is a little much. I don't really condone that, but it did work out for me because I met someone who saw it, who appreciated it, who, also kind of saw a lot of the baggage that I had and was carrying and didn't see some of it because, we still are presenting, best foot forward.
Half sane.
Yeah, we're still like, but I'm a catch though. But yeah, so it was nice to have that love and support and to be in a city, of course, that was so different from Texas and so different from Florida. And I was able to hold hands and to be in public with someone. And like also here, like unless you're an A-list celebrity, people kind of don't care. And maybe an influencer now. But like everyone else is kind of like, oh, who is that? Well, it's not Brad Pitt. Okay, moving on. And that was nice to have like some anonymity and have that love. And we've been together now for 6 years. I'm completely obsessed with him. And,
amazing.
Most of the times he's completely obsessed with me. And yeah, it's one of those things too where I look back and I'm like, wow, I really thought, like people are like, oh, you're bi, you have twice the options. I'm like, you have twice the rejection, twice the heartbreak. You're figuring out like half the speed. And I'm really happy to find someone who loves me in all the stages of me and supports me and I can support him. And, yeah, there's something that would have never happened if I was in the closet with a man or a woman. It would have never happened for me.
6 years is a long time. That's like 18 in gay years. So
yeah, 6 years.
That's a feat.
6 years is a long time. I know, I came out when Trump was president the first time and he's president now again. And, people are like, you should get married, like just in case. And I hear that. Like anyone that does that, like, great, go off. But for me, I didn't come out because of Trump, and I don't want to make any decisions in my personal life that revolve love because of a fear or of someone else's hate. Yeah. So I'm not saying I won't. I mean, the administration, unfortunately, is long, but that just won't be a driving factor for me.
Yeah.
There's this photo of you two that went viral again recently that I saw you reacted to. How does that feel to have it like recirculate when you feel like you've kind of lived that experience
and then boom, there it is again.
And then all of a sudden you have all these people being like, reacting online.
Yeah, I'll lean into the positives first of I appreciate people still being moved by it, people still being touched by it, people still being interested in me and my life and my relationship and my story. That's all really cool. It is something that feels very important, especially in today's political and social climate. And I do think my story is an evergreen story that reads the same, whether it's 16 players out in the history of the NFL or 16,000. Yeah. So all of that is really amazing. The real life and the other side of it is waking up and being like, what? This is stupid. I look crazy in this photo.
This was so long ago.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm a bald-headed hoe in this photo. I don't know why everyone is repopulating this. And it's a little, I'm just like, I'm not that person. Like I've lived 8 lives since then. Can we not? But it's a moment. Like people care about people at the end of the day. Like we try to act like we don't. We try to act like we hate each other and we're so different and it's so ridiculous that we're all here together. But at the end of the day, there are 8 billion people and counting on this earth. We're meant to be in community with each other and to love each other and to support each other. So I think it's a part of that. And whether people give me love or give me hate, I'm like, you're still kind of into me. And I don't really know you. And if you love me, I love you. And if you don't love me, I still love you. Like, good luck. I'm going to turn my phone off now and live my life. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm just like, is this, I'm like 12 years now. I'm like, and it pops back up. I'll be like, okay, scrub it from the internet.
Good luck with that. I have stuff that I've been trying to get scrubbed.
Like...
So your memoir, The Yards Between Us, if, someone was to take one thing away from that book, one life lesson, what would you hope that they take away from it?
I'm like, can I give this away? Buy the book.
Buy the book.
Yeah, I'm like,
Well, actually, and also let us know where it's available. Did you have it on Audible as well?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I did my own audiobook. It was
cool.
How long did I record? It was like 12 hours of recording for like I think only like 5 hours of like audio, something crazy. An audiobook is also an insane thing. I'm like, I have a producer in my ear. I'm reading the book. I'm like getting to the emotional parts. I'm like crying in the booth. I'm like, oh my God, I need a second. And the producer's like, okay, RK, you can take 5, but like we need to really get done with. We have like an hour left in the studio.
12-hour day?
No. No, they break it up.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, give me a second. But no, it's a great experience. I'm glad that I did it myself because that's something that's really resonated with me as a reader when authors do their own audiobooks. But my book is The Yards Between Us. It's available everywhere books are sold. Your local bookseller, the internet, Target, most airports, bookstores, literally pretty much everywhere, which is dope. The One Life, it's really about time. We don't know how much time we have left here on this earth. All we know is we have time. We have time that we don't enjoy, love, live to the fullest, living a lie, or times that we do love and peace, joy, happiness, living our truth. And I encourage anyone and everyone to get to the side of your time and of your life where you live in your truth and you are in love, peace, and joy. That is kind of like the biggest takeaway from the book that I think is the olive branch that extends beyond identity and beyond gender and all of these things. Like, we might not have anything in common, but as humans, we all have that. We all have things that are holding us back. We all have things that we are keeping in secret or in shame or that we feel make us less than. And it's about letting all of that go. Realizing that most of that is our power and our strength and where we'll find our community and embracing it and living your life to the fullest. And it's also just a really great book. Like, it's fun, it's heartbreaking, it's hopefully inspirational. It's I've been told it's an easy read, which I don't know how I love it because I don't want anything as a hard read and people put down, but it's crazy when you spend like 3 years writing a book. Yeah. And then like it comes out. And I'm getting messages like that night or the next day. I finished it, loved it, I'm done. I'm like, I put 3 years of my life into this.
But I finished it in a couple
I'm like,
hours.
God, you ran through it. Which, I'm like, it's great. People couldn't put it down. It's just a weird, it's like a weird thing as a writer. I'm like, 3 years and they just devoured it. And I'm like, well, gotta make a show. So that's where the adaptation comes into play. So I get to kind of like the photo resurfacing. I get to give this story a different medium and a different life and a different light. Because we're making a comedy, which is great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It was in collaboration with Gabrielle Union, who's executive producing. Wow. Sony Pictures are on board as well. Yeah, it was her team's idea to make it a comedy. I think also, which is the perfect thing. Mm-hmm. When I first heard it, I was just like, okay, well, I lived the life and it wasn't that funny. But then as you hear more and explore, and Gab is a great collaborator, a great ally as well, and just like someone who understands the space. When you talk about the movies that moved you as a child or that families were able to sit down and really watch and create like dialogue around, it was the comedies, it was the family stories, it was something like that. So if we really want to reach the people that also we hope really like will hear this and be changed by it, we want to kind of sneak in some of that medicine in between the laughs, in between the good stuff. Amazing. And also just like have fun. Like, we don't need, personally, I don't need any more trauma dramas about coming out and about the obstacles. Like, those exist, those are valid, those are real, those will continue to exist. But I want to be a part of the joy and the laughs and the fun of what it means to be young, Black, and queer, and in sports, and messy, and trying to figure it out, and not having any idea. And at the end of the day, still coming back to a family and a place that like loves you and supports you. I think that's really beautiful.
That's amazing. And I know I, for one, am going to be buying the audiobook and listening to it. Oh, The Yards Between Us, RK Russell. Yes, I'm very excited.
I'm going to buy the paperback because, unlike Jack, I know how to read.
I know how to read. I just choose not to.
Period. Let me read it to you. It all
Once I
works.
heard it was an audiobook, I was like, oh, I can
This
digest
works.
that.
That's the thing. Yeah, make it accessible for everyone. That's the important part.
So
Awesome. All right.
you mentioned earlier that you were one of 16 NFL players to come out. What do you hope that your legacy will be one day when none of us in this room are here?
Oh my gosh, my legacy. Yeah, I mean, people saying anything positive would be really great.
Maybe that picture will come back around.
Oh my God. It will be scrubbed from the internet by then. But no, I mean, even if something like that were to come back around and there are so few people, there are so many people that pass through this plane, this earth, this place, and there are so few people that we get to still experience in this day. So if I were to be one of those people, that's already amazing and crazy to think of. But I don't want to be remembered as the first and only. I want to be remembered as the first of many. I want to be remembered as someone who opened the door and led the way and let the floodgates in. I want to be under a list of so many successful bi and queer athletes, male, female, men, women, non-binary, trans people, like everyone.
Yeah.
And that would be an amazing legacy to leave, because at the end of the day, I'm gone and it's not for me. It's for the people here who can still use something like that and use that message.
It's a great message.
Very
Love
powerful.
Thank you.
that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is a time well spent. You're very inspirational. Like I said, I'm going to buy the book. I'm going to read it.
The Yards Between Us, R.K. Russell, available everywhere. Yes. And I'm excited for the show too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. It's able to, and it's going to be a post coming out story. I'm like, I also am not into the whole, he goes through all the things, then he comes out and then it's over. I'm like, I need to see him living life.
Yeah.
Like, how's he dating now that he's out? How's his family? How are the things?
How's he thriving?
Like what does that look like? So we're gonna get to show that on screen and hopefully.
Well, let us know when the screening is. We'll go.
Yes. Oh yeah. That'd be
I already
fun.
invited myself.
No, perfect. I want
He tends to do that.
The more people, the merrier. It's not a show if no one watches. So
Awesome. Well, RK, thank you so much. We're very excited to have you on today's episode of the Gay Rugby Podcast. Make sure to hit that bell and change your notifications to notify all. Follow us on social media at the Gay Rugby Podcast, at Gay Rugby Podcast. You can leave out the. And remember,
Don't just play the sport.
change the sport.
I love that.
Thank you.
Give me some. Thank you.
All right. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Gay Rugby Podcast. If you liked this video, do us a favor and subscribe. Hit that bell to change your preferences to notify all, and that way you'll get a notification every time a new episode comes out, which is going to be every Monday. So share this video with a friend, like, comment, and we appreciate the support. We'll catch you on the rugby pitch. See ya.